This is a special video for my YouTube subscribers. So what I would like to do is just address today a few of the common questions that I have seen popping up. I'm just going to go through the questions as they popped out to me. And if you have questions based on this FAQ session, comment below. One of the videos that I have made is looking at the attachment styles of the characters from Frozen, and I believe that film is called What is My Attachment Style? And so the question was, is Hans from Frozen a disorganized, avoidant, or ambivalent, anxious attachment style? In my video, I discuss Hans as being more of a disorganized individual, but to a pathological degree. So it might help to envision that attachment is not so cut and dry. We have a tendency to put things into boxes and think, oh, well, you're anxious and you're avoidant, so you're going to act this way, or you're acting this way, so I'm going to think about you as an avoidant person, and that's going to give me all the tools I need to manipulate this relationship into going the way that I want. And I know I can see some of your brains watching these things like, how am I going to get so-and-so to do what I want them to do next week? Is she going to give me some tips and techniques? I can hear it. I can hear your brains buzzing like that. But let me tell you, it's not that easy. So attachment, it's really more like an XY axis and continuum. So we have an axis of low anxiety and high anxiety. And then we have non-avoidant behaviors and avoidant behaviors. So it really looks more or less like this. Okay? And I do talk more extensively about this in that video on Frozen, and you can check out the playlist in my YouTube channel. Okay, so basically what happens is we can move around this, map, these different quadrants based on context, based on the attachment style of your partner, based on events that happen in your life that you have no control over, like if someone dies, or there's an earthquake, or you lose your job, or just, there are certain things that occur that can make you more or less secure and anxious or avoidant. And it does change over time. And I can tell you from personal experience, it changes over time. So for me, last year, February 2016, I took an online assessment for attachment, and I'll give you the link to that below as well. It's free. And my attachment style was disorganized. It was about there. And so we might say it's like the mild end of disorganized, but it was disorganized. And it kind of made sense to me because in reflection upon my last relationship, there was a lot of push-pull going on. And of course, I analyzed the crap out of him. I would be anxiously clingy and he'd run away suffocated. And then I'd be like, fine, I don't need you anyway. And then he'd be like, wait, no, come back, I need you. So it would just be back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But typically, when we start to lump people into avoidant or versus anxious is when those individuals display those behaviors more or less. So we're really just talking about frequency here. So for example, the anxious and the avoidant person, they're more like a yin-yang situation. So let's say, we'll call this, all the black part here, let's say that's avoidant, but they have a little bit of anxiousness in there, but most of the time they're avoidant. And all this white, let's call that anxious or preoccupied behaviors or ambivalent. But they also have the capacity to act like detached and avoidant as well, and they'll probably pull that out when they feel like the other person is gaining control in the relationship. But a disorganized person, it's not so easy. It's not so black and white like that. It looks a little bit more like this. You're a little bit unpredictable, kind of all over the map. The anxious and the avoidant person, they have a map. They know where they're going more or less. They know how they're going to act most of the time, but they might detour once in a while. Whereas the disorganized person, they kind of lost their map altogether. So you don't really know which way they're going to turn or where they're going to end up all the time. But I took my online attachment style test again 2 days ago. And guess where my attachment style is now? It's here. So I'm not disorganized so much anymore, but I have higher anxiety. And that kind of makes sense because my avoidant behaviors are decreasing, which means I'm opening my heart up a little bit more. But because I'm opening my heart up a little bit more, that makes me super anxious because that means that I'm allowing all of the painful, icky feelings that made me want to cut myself off from them in the first place to come up. Because I'm saying, okay, I'm ready to face and feel you now and figure you the F out, right? And that's hard work, and for all of you new age individuals out there about law of attraction, and if you have a bad vibe, it's going to attract bad things. What happens is, and I do believe in the law of attraction, but what happens is when you repress your feelings because bad feelings make bad things happen, it's not the bad feeling that's calling in the negative situation. It's the repression of that feeling, okay? So in order for you to really allow your energy to move through you, to call in whatever relationship you want, whatever abundance you want, you have to let it move through you. You have to face it. You have to feel it. You have to let it go.